So what do you say to that when someone says, "Oh, it's just occasional. It's not an issue. It's healthy." Like,
It's
what
not.
would you
There's
what would
no
you
way.
ask them? Hmm.
I firmly believe in no, there is no such thing. It's like an occasional heroin habit
Hmm.
because it does almost the same thing to the brain. So you can't occasionally use heroin
Right.
and be okay. That's not a thing.
Because they
So,
don't. Yeah.
and the reality is, like, getting back to the brain stuff, but also trying to keep it simple, is that when you discover pornography and masturbation at a young age, we know this from the science, it plants the seeds of addiction and it hijacks the reward center and the frontal lobe in the brain. It literally stunts the development of those brain areas. So if you continue to water the seeds of addiction, it grows. It has no choice but to grow. And even if you're watering it occasionally, you're still moving in a downward spiral, not an upward spiral.
Right. Yeah. I think I want to ask you, because we're trying to get to being helpful for people watching, right? People who are
Yeah, of
addicted or
course.
on the line, like, am I addicted? You know, that's an early question people have, right? Am I addicted or not? Something that I say when people, usually in the comments of my YouTube channel, or especially on TikTok, right? I know you're on TikTok too.
Oh my gosh.
The comments.
I just got on TikTok. A video of mine went quote unquote viral on TikTok,
Yeah.
but not on my account, on this kid from Africa. I've talked to him.
Oh yeah.
He put a video of me, which has like,
Wow.
he has a few of my videos that have, one has like 8 million views, one has like 5 million views.
Yeah.
So then I was in the midst of setting up my own TikTok account, but honestly, I can barely go on it because even when
Yeah.
I open it, it wounds me.
Yeah. No, I feel you. It's painful. But one of the questions, the most common question things that I
Uh-huh.
get is like, bro, it's fine. Like, what are you talking about? It's natural. It's healthy. Masturbation, porn.
Mhm.
And the question I always ask people that say it's like, oh, it's occasional, it's not affecting me, is
Mhm.
if I asked you to give it up for 90 days or
Mhm.
1 year, could you do it? And
Mhm.
then what they say is, well, I could if I wanted. And I say, well,
Yeah.
try it and let me know how it goes. And
Yeah.
they say,
And I
well,
just tell people it
yeah,
damages your brain. Like, it literally damages your brain.
yeah.
So does heroin. So, like, if you are occasionally damaging your brain, that's still not okay.
The also fact that people tend to ignore is that if you start heroin once, the chances are you're gonna. I mean, that's why people get addicted to heroin or smoking, for that matter,
Yeah. Yeah.
or
And it,
porn.
it happens within 2 exposures. And that's why it's
Within
so
two.
important to me to
Mm-hmm.
teach people the brain science behind it. Because when I tell you, and it's true, when I tell you that the first time you consume porn, and people know this, they feel this too, you got that rush in your brain, in your system. That rush was dopamine flooding your system because porn is a super normal stimulus.
Mm-hmm.
So your brain had to calibrate because you had this big dose, bigger than you're supposed to, super normal. So on the second time, your brain actually needs more dopamine than the first because those levels had been adjusted. So you're already building tolerance in 2 exposures.
Wow.
And that tolerance building really quick is basically the thing that creates the seeds of addiction.
Yeah.
And then it
So
becomes an
right.
unhealthy maladaptive coping mechanism because it felt so good. So
Got
most people don't give it up. They don't go, wow, that was fantastic, when they're 12 years old.
it.
That was awesome. Life really sucks. And that was amazing. But I think I'm going to give that up.
It's usually
That's
the
not what
opposite.
happens. That's
Usually
not
when
what
people
happens.
start, people are like, oh,
Definitely.
what am
It's,
I doing?
it's 5 or 10 years later when they're like, man, I've been doing this thing for 5 or 10 years. And I don't even like the word addiction, to be honest.
Yeah,
Like,
me
the
too.
only
Yeah.
the only reason I use it is because, creating urgency, not emergency, but urgency. Like, this
Mhm.
is a big deal, but it's really a compulsive. We know it's a compulsive behavior disorder. It's
Mm.
hypersexuality, compulsive behavior disorder. It's a compulsion, the need to go back, even though you might not even want to. It's a dependency.
Right.